Deep within the emerald embrace of the Amazon rainforest, where the canopy stretches endlessly and the air is thick with the scent of earth and life, a story of human resilience unfolded. This is a tale that transcends the boundaries of fiction, diving deep into the heart of reality. This is not a fairy tale, but the real-life adventure of a young boy named Eli, a boy whose spirit was as wild and untamed as the jungle he called home. Eli's story is a testament to the incredible survival instincts that lie dormant within us all. From a tender age, he learned to navigate the complexities of the forest, understanding its secrets and respecting its power. It's a reminder of nature's raw power. The Amazon, with its unpredictable weather and formidable wildlife, is both a nurturing mother and a fierce protector. It's a glimpse into a world untouched by modern society, a world where the ancient rhythms of life continue undisturbed, and where the balance of nature remains intact. Eli was just a boy of 7, with a heart full of curiosity and a mind eager to learn. His days were spent exploring the vast wilderness that surrounded his village, his life deeply intertwined with the rhythms of his remote village on the fringe of the Amazon. The villagers lived in harmony with nature, drawing sustenance and wisdom from the forest. He knew the forest paths as well as he knew the lines on his own hand. Each trail, each tree was a familiar friend, guiding him through the dense foliage. He understood the language of the birds, the rustle of leaves, and the subtle signs that the forest whispered to those who listened. The murmur of the river, the flowing waters were a lifeline, a source of sustenance and a guide through the wilderness. The jungle was his playground, a vast expanse of wonder and discovery. Every day brought new adventures, new lessons, his teacher, his home. The forest taught him the skills he would need to survive, to thrive, and to respect the delicate balance of life. Then, fate took an unexpected turn. The tranquility of his life was shattered by an event that would test his limits and redefine his understanding of survival. While on a fishing trip with his father, a cherished tradition that bonded them, a sudden storm swept in, with a ferocity that neither of them had anticipated, separating Eli from his family and plunging him into the heart of the unforgiving wilderness. Lost and alone, he faced the daunting task of finding his way back. Eli's journey for survival began. With every step he drew upon the knowledge and skills he had learned, his determination unwavering. His story is one of courage, resilience, and the unyielding will to survive against all odds. And the extraordinary bond that can exist between man and nature. Eli's tale is a powerful reminder of the strength that lies within us all, waiting to be awakened by the call of the wild. The storm arrived with the fury of a wild animal, unleashing its wrath upon the small fishing boat. Torrential rain obscured the world, turning the familiar river into a raging torrent. Thunder roared, shaking the very foundations of the forest. Fear, sharp and cold, pierced Eli's small frame as the boat, tossed mercilessly by the waves, capsized, throwing him into the churning water. Gasping for breath, he struggled against the current, his small hands desperately clutching for something, anything to hold on to. He caught a glimpse of his father's terrified face, swallowed by the raging water before disappearing entirely. Then, the river spat him onto the muddy bank, battered, bruised, and utterly alone. Fear threatened to consume him, yet a primal instinct, a will to survive, ignited within his young heart. He remembered his grandfather's wise words, "The jungle provides, but you have to listen to her whispers." Taking a deep breath, Eli, soaked to the bone and trembling with cold, turned towards the imposing wall of green, the heart of the Amazon, the only world he had left. The first days were the hardest. Eli had never imagined that the jungle, which he once explored with a sense of adventure, would now become a battleground for his survival. The dense foliage, the cacophony of sounds, and the ever-present sense of danger were overwhelming. Every step he took was fraught with uncertainty, every rustle in the leaves a potential threat. Hunger gnawed at his belly, and the cold seeped into his bones. The nights were the worst, with temperatures dropping and the thin fabric of his clothes offering little protection. He could feel his energy waning, his body crying out for sustenance. The pangs of hunger were a constant reminder of his dire situation, and the cold only added to his misery. The jungle sounds, once familiar and comforting, now carried an undercurrent of menace. The chirping of insects, the calls of distant animals, and the rustling of leaves all seemed to conspire against him. The once vibrant and lively jungle had transformed into a place of shadows and threats, where every sound could signal danger. Yet Eli persevered. Driven by instinct and the will to live, he began to adapt to his unforgiving environment. He knew that giving up was not an option. With each passing day, he learned more about the jungle and its secrets. He observed the animals, noting their habits and movements, and began to understand the rhythms of the forest. He sought shelter under the broad leaves of giant rainforest trees, their canopy providing a semblance of protection from the relentless rain. The downpours were frequent and intense, but the large leaves offered some respite. He fashioned a makeshift shelter, using branches and leaves to create a small haven where he could rest and gather his strength. He ate what little he could find, berries he recognized from his village, and he was cautious, knowing that not all berries were safe to eat. He relied on his knowledge and instincts, carefully selecting those that he knew were edible. The berries provided a small but vital source of nutrition, helping to stave off the worst of his hunger. Insects that moved slowly enough to be caught became another source of sustenance. It was not a pleasant experience, but survival often demanded unpleasant choices. He learned to overcome his initial revulsion, understanding that these small creatures were a valuable source of protein. Each insect he caught and consumed was a small victory in his battle for survival. Thirst was quenched with rainwater collected in cupped leaves, a meager but vital source of hydration. The rain was both a blessing and a curse, providing much-needed water but also making the jungle floor slippery and treacherous. He learned to collect and store the rainwater, ensuring he had enough to drink during the dry spells. Each day brought new challenges, new fears, and new victories. The jungle was a relentless teacher, and Eli was a determined student. He faced each obstacle with a growing sense of resilience, learning from his mistakes and celebrating his successes. Every small triumph, whether it was finding food or avoiding a predator, reinforced his determination to survive. He learned to distinguish between the rustling of harmless creatures and the stealthy approach of predators. His senses became attuned to the nuances of the jungle, allowing him to react quickly to potential threats. The ability to identify and interpret the sounds around him was crucial, helping him to avoid danger and stay one step ahead of the predators that roamed the forest. He learned to climb trees with the agility of a monkey, finding safety and a vantage point high above the dangers of the forest floor. The trees offered a refuge, a place where he could rest and observe the jungle from above. Climbing became second nature to him, and he used the height to scout for food and potential threats. Slowly, he shed the fragile skin of civilization and donned the mantle of a survivor, his senses sharpening, his instincts guiding him through the green labyrinth. The transformation was gradual but profound. He was no longer the same person who had entered the jungle. He had become a part of it, a creature of the wild, capable of navigating its challenges and thriving in its depths. Survival became a harsh but effective teacher. The jungle, with its dense foliage and hidden dangers, was an unforgiving mentor. Every day presented new challenges, and Eli had to adapt quickly or face dire consequences. The once serene and beautiful forest now seemed like a labyrinth of trials, each more daunting than the last. Eli, once a carefree boy, became a keen observer, a student of the jungle's intricate ways. He spent hours watching the wildlife, noting their behaviors and interactions. The jungle was alive with lessons, and Eli was determined to learn them all. He realized that understanding the creatures around him was key to his survival. He learned to identify edible plants, distinguishing between nourishing sustenance and deadly poison. This knowledge was crucial, as one wrong bite could mean the difference between life and death. Eli meticulously studied the leaves, berries, and roots, committing their characteristics to memory. He even devised small tests to ensure the safety of new plants he encountered. He crafted rudimentary tools from stones and sticks, a sharp-edged rock for cutting, a sturdy branch for digging. These tools, though primitive, became extensions of his will to survive. He fashioned spears for hunting and used sharpened stones to carve traps. Each tool was a testament to his growing ingenuity and resilience. He observed the animals, learning their habits, their strengths, and their weaknesses. By understanding the patterns of predators and prey, Eli could avoid danger and find food more efficiently. He watched how animals moved, where they nested, and how they communicated. This knowledge became a vital part of his survival strategy. He noticed how monkeys peeled fruit and mimicked their actions to access the sweet flesh. This simple act of imitation opened up new food sources for him. Eli learned to climb trees with agility, just like the monkeys, and soon he was able to gather fruits that were previously out of reach. The jungle's bounty was now within his grasp. He watched birds foraging for insects and learned to identify their telltale signs. The birds became his guides, leading him to hidden caches of food. By following their movements, Eli discovered nests filled with eggs and areas rich with insects. The birds' behavior provided him with a roadmap to sustenance. He became one with the rhythm of the forest, his senses attuned to its every pulse. The rustling of leaves, the distant calls of animals, and the subtle changes in the wind all spoke to him. Eli learned to move silently, to blend in with his surroundings, and to anticipate the jungle's moods. He was no longer an outsider, he was part of the ecosystem. The jungle, once a playground, was now a classroom, a harsh but ultimately rewarding one. Every lesson was etched into his mind through experience and necessity. The forest taught him patience, resilience, and the importance of observation. It was a place of constant learning, where every mistake was a lesson and every success a step towards mastery. It pushed him to his limits, tested his resolve, and in turn, revealed hidden depths of strength and resourcefulness he never knew he possessed. The challenges were relentless, but so was Eli's determination. He faced each obstacle with a growing confidence, knowing that every trial was shaping him into a stronger, more capable survivor. Each sunrise was a victory, each sunset a promise to fight another day. The passage of time marked his progress, and with every dawn, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. The nights were filled with the sounds of the jungle, a reminder of the life teeming around him. Eli found solace in the routine, in the knowledge that he was growing stronger with each passing day. And with each passing day, Eli, the lost boy, was transforming into something else entirely, a survivor, a wild child of the Amazon. His transformation was profound, a testament to the human spirit's ability to adapt and thrive. The jungle had become his home, and he had become one of its most resilient inhabitants. Eli's journey was far from over, but he was no longer just surviving. He was living, learning, and growing in the heart of the wild.